Welcome to this Creative Instinct podcast production made for the Cambridgeshire Recovery Service, one of a series made by people navigating their recovery journey, driven by people who have been there and recognise the way.
I think my journey started about 13 years ago when I was still at work. I've been retired 10 years now, nearly. And I found as I was getting older, my job was more and more stressful. And Friday evenings, I treated myself to a nice hefty glass of scotch to calm myself down. That was okay. Retired, everything was hunky-dory, and I settled down to a happy retirement life. But not very long after I retired, I had two very serious health incidents occur. I had a stroke and found myself lying on a hospital bed in Peterborough. And then about 18 months after that, was told I had prostate cancer. And I had to wait nearly a year to find out whether it was going to be benign and I was going to die of something else or whether it was going to kill me. And I handled it badly, very badly. And I started drinking, and I started drinking more and more and more heavily. And it was not long before I realised I was completely out of control. I had no control over my drinking. I was absolutely desperate to get a drink each day, and something had to give. I'd reached rock bottom, and I came to one morning. I'm not going to say woke up because I haven't slept for years. It's been alcohol-induced unconsciousness. And I woke up one morning, I came to one morning, and despite all the good things in my life, I just could not face another day. And I decided I want to end my life. And that's when things started moving, because I had reached rock bottom, and it was either something happens or it's half a day out with the undertaker. And it was then that I started with CGL, which was about August last year. They were absolutely brilliant. Right from the first time I came in, I mean, to be honest with you, I intended to come in and hate the place and hate everything that was happening here. But right from the first meeting I went to, I just loved it, and they can't keep me away now. But I've been trying to deal with both the anxiety I was feeling before I retired and with my drinking problem. And I've been to my GP many, many, many times, and I've had very little help from them, other than that they signposted me to CGL. The process was to find out for them and me to find out just where I was at and what help I needed. I came to it very naive, like a lot of people, and imagined that there was some magic button you could press and it would all go away. Well, in the nearly year since I've been with CGL, I have learned very clearly that is not the case, that it is a long process, and you've got to be in the right place before things like rehab are going to work for you, because if you go in at the wrong time, they are not going to work, they'll fail. I kind of knew before I came to CGL that I was in trouble and that I needed some help. But once I started meeting the clients, especially within CGL, I realised that I was in a bad situation and badly needed help. I tried to cut down, I've tried to have days off, but all that happens is if I try to cut down, I end up drinking more. And if I had days off, when I did start drinking again, I drank myself to unconsciousness every time. So it was having exactly the wrong effect. It was failing to achieve anything useful. And I think it was during that time. So it was probably about the end of last year that I realised that I was in a state, and the only way that I was going to get out of it would be via detox and rehab. And because I've got a long list of medical problems, I had to have a full hospital type detox that most rehabs would not take me on as a rehab client. So I ended up in detox, and I was terrified, because the thought of not drinking and struggling and suffering was horrifying, but it was completely painless. They dosed me up with Librium and anything else I needed. And the detox was just, it was pleasant. It was lovely. I enjoyed it. And it was a lovely environment. But then I had a 17-day interval before I could get into the rehab, which was, again, it was a lovely place. Really very, very intensive, hard work. But you work really hard all the time you're there. But I've learned so much about myself, about the illness of addiction. And I just feel bloody wonderful. But I think my biggest fear is that we have this phrase that we use about being on the pink fluffy cloud, which I'm definitely on now, but that will gradually dissipate, and there is a risk that I may relapse, and that absolutely terrifies me. The idea of going back to where I was is just beyond anything I can comprehend or what to think about. So what I'm looking for now, and I'll look for it anywhere I can get it, is to stay clean. I'm going to every meeting I can possibly go to. I'm also a member of a man shed just up the road, and I'm on the committee. I'm the workshop manager up there. So I'm quite heavily involved with that. I also want to go and do some fishing while the weather's reasonable. I'm keeping myself very busy. Plus, also, having been in rehab for 6 weeks, I've come home to a list of jobs to do at home. So I'm going to be busy there. I just take one day at a time. If I go to bed tonight and I haven't had a drink, then it's a good day. And tomorrow I'll start again. If my plans need to change tomorrow, they'll change. If they need to change next month or in 6 months or a year's time, they will change. I don't have any rigid structure. Well, maybe the shed and CGL will still be important to me, but everything else will fit around that. So flexibility is the important thing. I've been to several online meetings, and I do everything I can at CGL because I just like being in the environment. I just feel safe and secure there.
Your story can help others, and we'd love to hear it. Wherever you've been, wherever you are, how you got there, whatever, it's up to you.